The Tommyknockers is an interesting one for me. The book was actually the first thing by Stephen King that I ever read. It's often considered to be one of his weaker novels, but it obviously had an effect on me, as after reading it I explored a lot more of his work. It's about this woman, Roberta, who everyone calls Bobby, and this guy James, who everyone calls Guard. Bobby is a writer, and Guard is her sometimes boyfriend, who is an alcoholic poet. Bobby and her dog Peter are looking for firewood in the woods on her land, and she trips over a piece of metal and starts to unearth it. It turns out to be a genuine flying saucer, and as she continues to dig it up, the radiation from it affects her and eventually all the people in the town of Haven, giving them mental powers, a collective consciousness, and changing their appearance closer to that of the aliens that once inhabited the ship. Guard is immune to these changes for the most part, or at least they happen to him a whole lot slower due to the metal plate in his head. It's a science fiction story, not something King does well, but I liked it. It has a slow pace and a huge cast of characters. The sort of slow changes reminded me of the old style of hard sci-fi in some ways. In the end, everyone turns on Guard because he's different, and he winds up killing Bobby and flies off in the ship, destination unknown. The movie version is, it's pretty damn bad is what it is. I always thought that they could make a decent film out of the Tommyknockers if done properly, with a decent cast and a nice budget. Even the fact that it was a TV movie is no excuse. There have been some great TV movies based on Stephen King stuff, like the original Salem's Lot, The Stand, or the remake of The Shining. Firstly, there's the cast. When your best actor is Jimmy Smits, you're in trouble. When your biggest name is Tracy Lords and you're not shooting a porno, you're in it even worse. The actress who played Bobby is dull, Jimmy Smits is merely tolerable, and the rest of the cast are C-list nobodies. The special effects are really bad, even for television. I've seen better effects on some sitcoms than in this supposed science fiction film. The big special effect that they seem to use over and over again is green light. They couldn't even make a decent flying saucer, so instead the alien ship looks like it was made out of gigantic Legos, and has green lights that occasionally light up to ominous music. The contraptions that the townspeople start making also look like Lego stuff too, actually, just with green light bulbs in them. The pacing is ridiculous. King's work is known to be slow, but even as compressed and simplified as the movie is, there's still way too many scenes that serve no purpose. Like the tacit romance between the lady cop and the sheriff guy. Way too much time is spent on the greeting card sentiments that if you turned it on, you might think you accidentally turned on the old PAX network. The ending is also butchered. They reverse who lives and who dies, with Bobby surviving and her transformation being miraculously reversed, and Guard still flies off in the ship, but then he makes it explode because why not? If you saw this on TV, you might draw the conclusion that it's a pretty ridiculous story built upon a very shaky premise, but that's really not the case. I still think the book is good. I just think it was butchered beyond belief in this low-budget nonsense. Pass on the Tommyknockers. It's cheap in every sense of the word. 2 out of a possible 10.